Yes, I am Dave. Some people call me Angry. And I'm with my next guest. I'm calling him Gary The Instigator. I think we'll get into that. Gary, can you say hi to everybody?
Hello.
Gary, we know each other. We played baseball, men's baseball against each other for a while. And then we got into some shit together.
Yeah, we did.
And I helped you start a baseball league that became the biggest league in the area, probably the biggest league that had ever existed in this area. And we'll probably get into that a little bit, but that's our history. You have any Angry Dave stories that you can think of off the top of your head?
The kids who were walking by you and your friends when you were hanging outside of a bar down here in South Philly.
Yeah.
And they didn't say anything when they were right next to you. And they get down the block, and then we start talking a little shit, and you start waving them back.
I did.
Like, come on back. And then they came back, and your friends, you and your friend tuned them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just imagine the anger emanating out of your body.
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember times you get pissed at people when you have this conversation, like, I'm going to bite that guy's face. I'm like,
yeah, my boss at work has talked to me about the strange shit that I say that I want to do to people. Motown Mike was the guy that was there for that.
Okay.
And so the kids start coming back. They're like 19, 20 years old, however old they are.
Right.
And he's like, you got to fucking hit first, dude. I'm not swinging first. I'm not doing anything until you fucking hit first. You're the one to start at this.
Right.
And I said, fine, Mike. So then, I threw the kid onto the ground and I sat on his fucking neck. And I said to him, you got two choices, body bag or home. What do you choose?
Yeah, it's great because you said some things in the past that we just said, like, I sat on his neck. Like, to me, in a fight, because I haven't been in a handful in my life. It's like, I punched him in the face, or I hit him in the ribs. You're like, I sat on his, like, frenulum or something. Like, it's something very specific and just unconventional. It's amazing. I love it.
You don't have a whole lot to say when somebody's sitting on the side of your neck.
Yeah, it's like your options are limited. Yes, you absolutely have limited options as someone's sitting. It's great.
How old are you, Gary?
I just turned 51 at the end of December.
And where did you grow up?
Okay, so that's a multifaceted kind of answer. So I was born in Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Yeah.
In the same hospital that the recently deceased Franco Harris was born in. It's a claim of fame for Bolsonaro Hospital, which is now gone. My father was military, so he moved to Germany.
Yeah.
So I was there for a good part of my younger years, from like the ages of like 4 to 10, 4 to 11.
Wow.
And I came back and remember the very first thing that I saw on American TV was the Eagles-Raiders Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
I was sitting on the floor of our new home, eating a bowl of rice and beans as Hispanics do. And I watched the Super Bowl in Pemberton, Browns Mills, just outside the military post. So we were there up until I graduated high school. And then my mom and dad moved to Florence, New Jersey. But I went to Catholic school in Florence. Yeah. So it was kind of, I when people ask me where I'm from, I say Florence, New Jersey, because all my friends and stuff, and I went to grade school there.
So your dad was a military man?
Yeah, he was. He was Army for 20 some odd years. He was in Vietnam. He actually enlisted. My grandparents died 6 months apart from each other.
Yeah.
So he enlisted and went to Vietnam later in his life. He was in his late 20s when he went to Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
So he volunteered and he came back. He was working at the Army Pictorial Center in New York City, where he went on a blind double date.
Oh, wow.
And that blind double date was with my mother. Yeah. And the people they went on the blind double date with are my godparents.
Oh, wow, cool.
So, yeah, so they were up there. Yeah, he was military.
Your dad is of Irish Catholic descent, right?
Yeah. He's my grandparents came over from Ireland and actually through Nova Scotia, and they moved across Canada into Michigan. And then my father was born in Flint, Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Where he's from. And then my mother is from Guatemala. Yeah. My grandparents were originally from Spain.
Yeah.
Moved to Guatemala, got into the banana business, and they actually had a plantation. It was for Del Monte. So my mom was the youngest of 13.
Wow.
And then she came over to the United States on the work visa. She was an international accountant for IBM. She actually was in Miami for a little while, doing some accounting work for Eastern Airlines, and then she moved to New York City with my godmother, and she was doing some accounting there. So, and then they met.
Do you have an older sister?
I
Correct?
do. Actually, my sister is 54. She's retired. She retired in June.
Amazing.
And she's now living in Portugal for 3 months.
Jesus.
And then she's going to come back here for a month. Then she's going to go live in Rome for 3 months. Then come back for 2 months. And then she's going to move to London for 3 months. So she had no kids. Her husband was something with IT for a firm that did homeland security work. So they're very well off.
Yeah.
You know, they do what they want to do. They love to travel. Actually, yesterday or was it yesterday, the day before? Day before? No, yeah, day before. She sends me a text message. She's like, "How's your breakfast?" And I was like, "It's fine." She goes, "Here's my breakfast," and she's sitting on this patio area overlooking this castle, and it's like glasses of wine. I'm like, "You are a bitch."
Is she looking to adopt any 47-year-old chubby men?
You know what? She's gotten this far without kids. I think she's kind of like learned that, all the bills are hers. So,
Fuck.
yeah, I know. But I'm proud of her. Tracy's an underdog story. She was like the ugly duckling. Prom story was amazing because like it was the first time she dressed up, and I was like, "This can't be Tracy Shears." And then, she went. If you didn't know you'd think that she played some sports in high school with the amount of stuff for colleges that came to our home. But she decided to go to Rutgers. I think she got a full academic. She got a undergrad and medical school with a grand total of $43,000 in debt.
Yeah. So you were the Danny DeVito of the two.
Yeah, I was the waffle runoff of the gene pool in the Shears house because my father, outside being in the military, when he retired, he became a professor in history, and my mother spoke 4 languages. My father spoke 5 languages. My sister speaks 4 languages. I speak English barely, and quite a bit of asshole. So, yeah, fluent.
How old were your parents when they had Tracy?
So my dad was like 33.
Okay.
And my mom had to be 28. And I'm the exact age my father was when I was born.
Gotcha.
So when Mason was born, I was 36.
Okay.
So I was 36 when Mason was born, and then I was 39 when Connor was born.
Gotcha. Tell me about living on the Army base in Germany. What was that like? What do you remember from that?
I remember a lot.
Yeah.
I still will go to Google Maps and look where, Earth, and I'll see where I grew up.
Yeah.
In a military post is very eclectic. I don't know what it's like living in a military post these days with the way people are, but back then it was, I want to call it like a prison yard. Because all the white kids hung out, all like the redneck kids, all the black kids, all the Spanish kids hung out. And I was kind of that line in between of the Spanish and the white kids. And so it got a lot of shit. I was telling the story the other day. There was this kid, T.T. Morris, who has a big afro. He had to be like 8 years old.
Yeah.
And where we lived, it was like kind of in this like dell, and there was like this plateau, and on top of it, we call it the economy, but that's where all like the German people lived in the burbs.
Yeah.
So the German kids would get together, and if they saw you alone, you're fucked. They pick on you. So TT's walking by himself, and me and my buddy Mike Whitbeck are walking, and we see these German kids surround him. So we ran over to like pick up for him, and nothing really happened. They kind of walked away. From that day on, I was ushered into the African American community because I stuck up for a black kid, and I honestly, coming from where I came, my household, like it was just, I didn't even really care about anyone's color or anything like that. It was like, were you good at sports? Like you want to play catch or do something?
Right.
So I never thought of it that way. But then it was just I noticed that any of the dudes that would pick on me now, that stopped.
Right.
It was kind of cool. So, but it was a lot of fun. One thing that I remember is because where we were, this is like during the Cold War.
Yeah.
And we all lived in like these very large buildings or like massive, like large apartments for families.
Right.
And when they would have an alert, you'd hear these sirens go off, and then everyone's dad met on this large oval, and then all these buses came, and all the kids would just go sit and then watch their father in like full battle dress, get picked up and head off to, potential war. We didn't know.
Yeah.
So there was like that camaraderie. It's like all kids was like, oh shit, our dad's going to go to war right now.
Right.
So, and then in Germany, since my father was fluent, my mother was fluent, we were out. We didn't spend a lot of time in the housing area. We were out in the community, and we got to know some of these people, and we go over for Sunday dinner, and it was cool. It was a fun childhood, and I just didn't know when I came back to America. I didn't know how to. It was different. If I wasn't around military kids, everything was so clannish to me, and it didn't seem, I guess, bad word for it's like cultured enough. Right. Even at that age,
right, or worldly enough. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I'd say that because it wasn't like a lot of interesting things that happened in America. And I didn't eat McDonald's until I was 11.
Right.
And I didn't, I walked into a classroom and I was like, where are black kids at? I was like,
Right.
okay, because then I was going to Catholic school
Yeah.
in Bordentown, and it was like, you didn't see it. Everyone was like, especially in like the Bordentown area, everyone's like Greek or Hungarian, so you
Yeah.
had that group, and I was like the half-seat kid,
Right.
that was lived in Germany, and my sister had a hard time assimilating. She wasn't very outgoing,
Yeah.
but I got along with everybody. I was always good at making friends,
Yeah.
because I'm a really good wedding date.
Yeah.
It's like I would tell people that, with girls, especially when they got to college. So I was like, you need a wedding date, you don't have to babysit.
Right.
I'll be sitting there and I'll make friends with anybody. It was easy for me. For my sister, it was hard,
Yeah.
because she was more of a bookworm,
Right.
and, she kept to herself, and people would like, give her trouble and stuff. Like, it was the kid shit, but they're probably miserable right now. And my sister's drinking wine in Portugal.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said, fuck you guys. Right? She
That's
wins.
right. That's all the girls that used to overlook me in South Philly. Go fuck yourself. I'm a lawyer.
That's it.
And those kids are most likely dead or on drugs. But anyway, moving on. So you moved to Florence. How old were you when you moved to Florence?
I was out of high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was like my first visit home from college was in Florence. It was the first time not in my home in Browns Mills, but
Gotcha.
I went to grade school. I didn't spend a lot of time in Browns Mills. It was just that's where it was because it was close to the military post,
Gotcha.
and it was like very woodsy and stuff, which I hated.
Yeah.
As a kid, that was the thing about growing up in Germany, is that I got very assimilated to, because we lived very close to cities and small towns that were bigger than just like a little town. So
Right.
I've always been someone that gravitated towards a city, and it's an exciting thing for me to live in a city. So
Let's talk about high school. Where did you go to high
I
school?
went to Holy Cross High School in Delran.
Okay.
And I hear horror stories. People say, "Oh, it was so clannish. It was this and it was that." And I was like, nothing but positive things about Holy Cross. Now it's an academy. It's smaller.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
great time.
What were you like as a kid? Just outgoing?
Outgoing, goofy, dorky, but I wasn't a cool kid. I wasn't a nerd. I was just a dude in the background. I did not stand out by any means.
Yeah.
I didn't try to. Maybe I didn't. I didn't know, but I was just like there. I was just like there. Didn't distinguish myself in any way.
You go away to college. Where did you go?
Rowan University.
Tell us about that experience.
Fun. I have lifelong friends from it. It was a shit student. I think I was not in class more than I was in class. I learned the fine art of flipping a quarter into a shot glass, how to drink, bartend a little bit, got into a fraternity. I got very lucky with that college too, because there was a fraternity system there, but everyone kind of like intermingled and stuff. So, and I have a lot of friends that I'm still friends with now that were from other fraternities and stuff. And
Yeah.
I was just very fortunate between high school and college to be in an environment where it wasn't too clannish. There was some stupid shit that happened. I did a lot of dumb stuff in high school, but
Right.
in college, but what I think I did learn, because I got really into like the Greek life and intramural sports there.
Yeah.
I learned how to work with other organizations. I learned how to communicate. I learned how to just kind of create solutions out of nothing sometimes, like on the fly, even if they were fucked up. It was like you found a solution. It was a wrong one, but at least you put the effort in to learn how to do it. So it helped, that served me. But I think because I was in, bartending and stuff like that,
Yeah.
an already outgoing person became more outgoing.
Yeah.
It was a great experience, a lot of fun. I've been very fortunate to have kind of that period of my life from high school to college.
Any crazy hazing stories?
Not hazing, but one story which lives in lore there's two stories. There's one where there was a rival fraternity, and me and my dumbass roommate, who's a great guy now, we get drunk, we just get this horde of people to follow us down to their fraternity house, and my roommate was 6'3", 290, just almost an Irish guy from Bayonne, New Jersey, and he walks up to the porch and he rips one of the letters off like he was like pulling a postage stamp off. So I walk up, I see it, I said, "Yeah, he can do it, I'll do it." And here I'm leaning, like I'm grabbing on, hanging off the porch.
Yeah.
And they all come out, and all of a sudden I became like prison yard bitch. I'm like, "Oh, And I never was happier to see the police show up in my life. And it took me away. And one of the guys in the fraternity took mercy on me, didn't press charges, they let me go. There's that. And then there's the infamous, I don't know how many people I know listen to this, but the cat story where there was a cat that lived in our fraternity house, and my roommate was always kind of mean to it. Like he put like tape on the bottom of its feet to watch it like do, and he do something called kitty in a blanket, where you put a cat in a blanket, just open it real quick and jump up in the air.
Yeah.
And one morning, we're sleeping in bunk beds, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy shit his pants. It smells. I'm like, yo, Steve, are you all right? I look down, and the cat's walking out of the room. I'm like, what is the cat doing here? I look down, and there's this big cat turd on the back of his leg. The cat came in and shit on him. And I'm like, oh man. So he gets up. He's like, what the? He's going crazy.
Yeah.
And he was like I said, big Irish guy, and he was like, he had blonde hair all over his body, so it looked like he didn't have hair from a distance.
Yeah.
And he had a bit of a gut on him. So he's like, oh, this is so fucking gnarly. And he goes running into now everyone's sitting in this common area that all the bedrooms were kind of around.
Yeah.
And he runs into the shower, and he's saying, this is so fucking gnarly. This is disgusting. And we're all cracking up, dying, laughing at him. So one thing that he didn't like was being laughed at. So the cat is walking by the window, and he throws this pillow at the cat, and the cat falls out the window.
Oh,
so we all look out. We can't find the cat. Like, where's the cat? So months go by, and one day we just see this cat walking like in town with his collar that's just too small for it. Like, oh, there's the cat that shit on Steve. But it was just like, if you saw this large man just like walking around, and he took off because it shit on the back of his legs wearing boxers, but part of it got on his boxers.
Yeah.
So he's running around naked, and he looked like a very large infant, like a baby, a toddler, and cursing and stuff. He's in the shower, and like he could kill us all.
Yeah.
So when he's there, we have to like bite our tongues and look down. As soon as that door closed, like laughing, and he came out real like stone faced again.
Yeah.
Dude, it was fucking funny.
That fucking cat hated him.
He did. That cat was just so calculating. He just sat around and probably was like, just bought his time, man.
Cats don't fucking fuck up their shit. They know what they're doing.
Oh yeah. They're tactical. Tactical. They just know that they're gonna catch you, and you just gotta fucking deal with it. Yeah, they're good. I respect them for it.
What were you like in college? How would you describe yourself?
Frat boy.
Yeah.
Total frat boy, chode, drinker.
Yeah.
Love to chase the girls.
Yeah.
Just always goofing around and playing, intramurals, and at every fraternity party I could have gone to. I was like an 8-ball, just kind of like, that was a dude.
Yeah.
Just, I was nothing spectacular a little bit at all. You're not the man you see before you today.
What a man I see.
Jesus.
You were broing it out, huh?
I was, dude. I had the long curly hair, and yeah. My father bribed me to cut my hair before my sister's med school graduation. She went to shake my hand and put $100 bill in there, and you just get your haircut and keep the rest. So we were in Florence. So we drove to Fort Dix, got a $2 haircut.
Yeah.
And then went to Philly, and we went to this place that was on Front. And I want to say Front and South. It was like right across from where Downey's was. It was called Montana's.
Yeah.
And for $7 for 3 hours, it was all you could eat and drink. So we did that. Then I ended up at Downey's.
Yeah.
Then I think it was the Artful Dodger that was still down there in the circle. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
We'd go there and just got shit hammered on my $93 or $95 that I had left over from when I got my haircut.
I miss Downey's.
Yeah. They just leveled it now. It's not even there. It's an empty spot.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So what did you do after college?
I didn't really know what I wanted to do until one day my friend showed up and said, let's be stockbrokers. And I knew nothing at all about the stock market, finance, economics. I was a political science major, barely.
Right.
I was just really good at writing essays. So I started studying. And I got my Series 7, my securities license. And then I started working for brokerage firms and, as a financial advisor. And, I got lucky because I stole my sister's beeper card. And I called every doctor, and sold them disability insurance and a financial plan, and I built a practice, which I sold. And then I got into branch management and financial advisor management. That's what I'm doing now at Vanguard.
Right. When did you get married? How old were you?
I was, let me see, that was in 2007. So I was about 2004. 2007, January 2007. So I just turned 35 because it was a running joke with my friends in college and stuff like, Shears is going to be like 55 years old and have an 18-year-old girlfriend. He's never married.
When did you pass your Series 7?
I was 24 25.
So there's that 10-year period in between.
Yeah.
What was Gary like at that point?
The typical guy in the business, we just spent a lot of time on the phone, meeting with people. And when we weren't doing that, it was just drinking, like drinking bad, like a lot of drinking, and partying. And I actually lived in a house with a couple of my fraternity brothers in Voorhees. And it was so much fun there. Like during the week, we were Ozzy and Harry, and on the weekends, it was just like drinking with our hair on fire.
Yeah.
And then, I met my ex-wife a couple months after I moved out of that house.
Okay.
So it was about 2003. Oh, yeah, 2003. 2003, I met her, and we got married in 2006, 2007.
And then Connor came.
Well, Mason came. Mason was in '08.
Right.
And then Connor was in 11.
Gotcha.
About 3, and they're 2 weeks apart on the calendar. So they're both April babies.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's 3 years difference between them two.
And then when did we start the baseball league?
2008 was the last fall that we played in the old league.
Right.
And 2009 is when we kicked off our league.
My son was a couple years old, and Mason had just been born.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a baby. Yeah, he was like little. He wasn't even a year yet when we kicked him. When we had opening day, I think it was just his birthday had just passed.
Wow.
Yeah.
I forgot that. I forgot that they were that young.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit. It's a 10-year period, right? So like 06 to 16, 18.
It was 08.
Oh,
it was actually April of 09, and then the last season ended in November of 19.
And so just for anybody who doesn't know, Gary ran the NJIBL, created the NJIBL, New Jersey Independent Baseball League. It was a men's baseball league. And at one point, we had well over 200 teams. We started with 8 teams in a meeting.
It turned to 48.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the meeting in October.
Yeah.
And we had a meeting in October, and then opening day, we had 48 teams.
48 teams, and really, it was 48 teams with really just a promise that we would follow our rules and not cheat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really all that was. And over the years, it just grew and grew and grew, and then really just became a monster.
Yeah.
So talk about that time, that period of your life. What was going on then?
It was everything. Like, I was so hell bent on building the biggest league I could, because it was really, I like to think that I have completely grown past that. But for me, it was, one guy said to me when I was in the business, because I've never seen anyone motivated by venom more than you.
Yeah.
And which is not a thing to be proud of.
Right.
And it's not healthy for you. So, I had a beef with the National League. Back at the time, just not really good with authority.
Yeah.
I thought things weren't run as well as they could, and I kind of took it in a different direction. Probably a direction I shouldn't have, a martyr kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was kind of mean to some people that I shouldn't have been, very disrespectful to them. But the only thing positive that came out of it is like we had a really good league.
Yeah, we did.
And it was the best competition in South Jersey, at that men's level, as far as Sunday league's concerned. I mean, you can't compare it to Tri-County or RBL. Those college leagues, those are better leagues,
right,
as far as talent's concerned. But it's for the weekend warrior guy who can play one day a week and he's got a job. We did a really, really good job.
Yeah,
and the first couple of years.
Yeah,
I think for the first, let's say 4 years.
No, I think a little bit longer.
I think to me it was that way because it coincided before my father died. So I was enjoying it. I got divorced. Right, I got divorced. I split it with my ex-wife exactly a month before my father died.
Yeah.
So to me, the league was fun and it was stuff, but there was a lot. Like I took it on so much, I became kind of like an absent husband and father.
Yeah.
And my ex-wife stood up first, so she did the right thing. So, but then after that, it was not so much about having a great league and fun, as much as it was to keep that middle finger up in the air. But the problem is, with keeping your middle finger up in the air, your arm gets tired.
Yeah. And it got tired. I mean, I got tired first, but
no, rightfully so. I mean, it was just, it was a thing, but it wasn't like a bad thing. But things kind of moved, and we had our conversations in all places. A strip club after.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was sitting there with all you guys, and I walk in, and it was like the first time I think I seen you and a bunch of the guys from the team, and then I think I just said, it was like, man, it should have been different,
Yeah.
and the exit should have been different, and
Yeah.
maybe I should have been different even if exited. So it was, one of those pivotal moments where you just kind of realize, it ain't all about you; it's about other people too. And I forgot that
Yeah.
because the league became so much, and then to make things worse, I opened up my own baseball academy,
Yeah.
which I thought was going to save me.
In my estimation, it got out of control for you because not because of your ego necessarily that of wanting to do, wanting to run it or whatever. It was your ego and wanting to make everybody happy.
There's absolutely that. I wanted, because I didn't have anyone to make happy anymore, I think.
Yeah.
So I had to make everyone happy. And then from the opposite perspective, the getting involved in getting a baseball academy and starting youth baseball
Yeah.
made me not care what anyone thought about me. And if anyone who does follow me on Facebook, you could see it going from a lighthearted guy to this really mean,
Yeah.
kind of like just constantly the instigator, the troll.
Yeah.
And I didn't care who I offended. And I kind of reveled in the fact that people would say that I was difficult or an asshole. I thought it was a thing to be proud of.
Right.
Now, I can't look at Facebook memories past 2019 and not get embarrassed.
Right.
That was a very dark part for me.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of shit was going on in your life and a lot of change, I guess. Right.
Yeah. A lot of bad decisions, a lot of bad people.
Yeah. I mean, I think it ran its course. I sorry that it ended the way it did, but for anybody that is listening to this podcast that was part of that journey, from something that I know that probably nobody else knows is Gary spent a lot of money, a lot of his own money, never made a fucking dime off of anything. And to be honest with you, that's one of the big things that scared me off is when I start to know that I didn't want to be a part of it anymore. And he was going down a road where he was trying to make everybody happy and it was affecting himself, affecting his finances. And, I just had to bow out. And
Smartest move.
well, yeah, I feel bad. I probably should have told you that up front. I know that over the years we probably talked about it, but I should have just really been more upfront about it. So I regret that.
Yeah, fuck you.
But you can go fuck yourself. All right. So tell us, catch us up to date now. The last 5 or 6 years, what's been going on with you, bud?
Yeah. So after and it was funny because this is a good story.
Yeah.
The very last game of the NJIBL was between a team from Vineland and a team from Camden.
Yeah.
And they had major squabbles where they were having dudes show up and stuff. So I canceled the last game, the championship game ever in the NJIBL.
Amazing.
And this dude calls me up and he goes, yeah, I forget his name, Trooper or something like that. He's from Camden. He goes, yeah, I run baseball in Camden. I'm like, okay, that's good for you. And he's like, if these were two teams from Cherry Hill, you wouldn't be saying that because we're Spanish. And I was like, you realize I'm Spanish, right? It's an Irish last name, but I'm a Spanish dude. I'm Latino. Why are you coming at me like this? But he's just like, we can do this, and we ain't gonna be no problems. I'm like, dude, we've had so many complaints and stuff about your two teams. I can't let this go on in the last game. So we get shot on the way out, and I'm like, oh god, here we go. Yeah. And the game they wanted to play in Camden, and I'm like, I'm not doing this. And that was, as much as you could say, it's a shame that it ended. To me, it was the greatest relief. Yeah. Because I was done with baseball. I did everything I possibly could have done with it. Yeah. I got to play for the Irish men's national baseball team in a game in Dublin, Ireland. That's I showed you the jersey. Yeah. And I was the oldest guy on the team by 20 years. Played some of the best baseball I played. I had no injuries. I was just so much fun. Played 3 games over there, and I was like, well, how do we top this? Yeah, right. How do I go out on a higher note? And then I came back to America, and I just knew that we had a game that Sunday, and I just, told a couple guys, I showed up, I hurt my back or I strained something. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to play baseball anymore. Yeah. It's not fun. I don't like it. Even after I, closed the league down, in, the fall of 18, the fall of 19, I just didn't watch baseball for 2 years. I didn't keep up on it, nothing at all. I just couldn't. It was a very hard thing. It just was like PTSD,
Yeah.
of all the shit that happened.
Talk about your experience running a youth baseball program.
Awful,
Yeah.
awful. Because I'll catch some shit for this, but I don't give a fuck anyway. A lot of youth baseball coaches are either parents who are living through their kids
Yeah.
or guys who played in college who know what they make and they show up and go, yeah, I played at Division II, so pay me $3,000 and pay for my hotel room when we go away. And like, I don't feel like coaching today, or
Yeah.
it's the biggest scam out there. I mean, because the one thing I also did too is I worked for National Scouting Report.
Yeah.
I was actually a baseball recruiter for the NCAA. I had a couple kids. I actually got college, scholarships and money to go to school.
Right.
And if you're good,
yeah,
and you play at high school,
right,
people know you're good.
Yeah.
All these travel things, like, oh, well, your recruiters here. They're not.
Right.
They're not.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't go to these. The only tournaments worth going to are perfect game tournaments because that's where the real talent is.
Right.
If you want to
top level,
top level talent. But everything else, any of these travel organizations, I mean, from my heart, you're paying so that parents can go hang out in a hotel in Maryland and get drunk together, then argue about whose kid is better.
Yeah.
And they talk behind each other's back. You got kids that are semi-talented and, they're playing, they think they're having fun. Mom and dad are shelling out a shit ton of money.
Yeah, right.
And it just goes into the program runner's pocket. And if they say they don't, they're lying.
Yeah.
Show me your books. Because I know how much we took. And even at that, it paid to keep an academy barely open, and we lost money.
Yeah,
we
right.
lost money. So
because of the nut of just opening an academy.
Or the demands of coaches, and then parents are like, "I'll coach this team, but I want $3,000 too."
Yeah.
And then you got, I'm not going to mention his name for legal reasons, but a guy who passes himself off as a baseball guy who's never done anything in baseball.
Yeah.
Saying that he can get your kid signed, he didn't, and he'd pocket money out of programs. So
yeah.
Well,
there's a lot of that going on, right? I mean, it's not just
in any sport. If you're good, they'll find you. If you play for the biggest place is high school and perfect game in baseball.
Yeah,
they got it right. Perfect game knows how to do it.
I've had these conversations with baseball guys a number of times. I don't care how much training that you get your kid, or you pay for your kid, or you get Milt Thompson, or you get who the fuck ever to train your kid. Einstein, there's no amount of SAT prep courses that made Einstein that smart.
Yeah, you're not.
There's no training that made Mike Trout to be the exceptional athlete that he is.
He was a man amongst boys.
He would have been an exceptional athlete in any sport that he picked. Yeah. Now, again, the training helped him, of course, and probably made him a better player. It can up your level, but it's not going to make you a Division III player into a fucking Major League All-Star.
Nope.
It just doesn't happen, and it's a pipe dream. And that mediocre kid, or the kid that has a little bit of talent, they're spending all this money to get him a fucking scholarship that doesn't exist.
Yeah. The colleges, like, they know who's good.
Yeah.
Because of high school. And there's a network of college coaches, and there's a network of like high school coaches, some high school coaches. Some high school coaches just teachers who get the extra $3,000 to coach that season.
Right.
But it's just it's an absolute, to me, it's a business.
Yeah.
And I respect it. They could sell it, and because I'm all about the capitalism, man. We talk about the capitalism. I call it the capitalism, but if you got a product, you can say, "Oh, you can go play down here, sports you can play here." It's like they're not. It's a money grab, and you're using kids, and you're saying that, "Oh, you can play here."
Right.
So I youth baseball really soured me, and it was part of the transformation of get everyone to like Gary, to where Gary doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I have these like things that I used to say to like my friends, and then to like women. Like, I have a theory, and I have these theories that I actually thought were cool, and I thought they're bullshit. But now I think about it, they're really, really good theories. And one of the theories, the boys, guys, and men theory.
Yeah.
Like, boys do things to prove things to each other.
Yeah.
Guys do things to prove to boys that they're not boys anymore.
Yeah.
And men don't care.
And it takes a long time to get to that point, man.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It falls in line with my boot theory.
Yeah.
It's like, how I dress. Like I'm semi bitch. Like I dress
Yeah.
well. Like
Yeah, you got pink ties. Yeah, I
I
got you.
do, dude. I got pocket squares that I know how to fold. Like I got 12 Brooks Brothers suits and 5 Savile Row suits in my closet right now. Like I am a bitch when it comes to clothes.
Yeah, right.
But I also dress casually. I have these pair of boots that I've had now going on, I'm going to say about 11 years.
Yeah,
And when I first bought them, they were really nice, but they were hard to break in. And they sometimes look too shiny and
yeah,
stuff. And I can only wear them with certain things.
yeah,
But as I got older, and I still have them, sometimes I can wear them with jeans. I've
yeah,
worn them with suits. I've worn them, with pants, but they fit everything. And the reason why they look good is because they're broken in.
yeah,
So boots are like people when you're young. They're just so new. You know your boot. I can operate in certain situations, but not every situation because I just don't look like I've been worn in enough.
right.
But then I've got like a scratch here, or like the heel's worn in a certain way, or it fits my foot just right. It's like people, you've been worn through and you've been scarred up and
Yeah,
you got the creases on the face. That
yeah,
now you fit in every situation because you've
yeah,
been in every situation.
right.
So that's another like kind of Garyism that I take pride in. That I don't know if people will like or find any credence in, but I think to me, it makes sense
Yeah, makes
because it's
sense to me.
practical.
Yeah.
It's absolutely practical.
I mean, there's nothing that replaces experience. There just isn't. It's
Mm-mm.
in work, in life, in anything. You have to have lived a little bit to get it. I mean, you
I
just
see it
do.
here. I see it here, and I've said to because I live above. We talk about people know this. I live above a restaurant, and my friend lives above me, and you see my apartment you're in. It doesn't look like an apartment. You think it's above a restaurant. It looks
No, it's beautiful.
and his is gorgeous too.
Yeah,
And so because I love being around that environment, I'm like yeah, Doug, let me bartend here and there, and be around the people,
yeah,
and being behind the bar, you see how young men act
yeah,
around young women.
right.
And then you start to realize why women like the guy with the salt and pepper.
Yeah,
Because it's not because they're ripped. It's
right.
not because they're anything special. It's because they know when to shut up
Yeah,
and they know when to listen. And
right.
like, I spent so much time, especially during the baseball times, talking, that I couldn't hear anyone tell me to shut up, or I didn't spend enough time to listen to other people.
All right, I got a goof on you real quick.
All right.
During the baseball times, you were probably the greatest salesman I've ever seen in my life. And I really mean that. He sold the league, and it doesn't happen without him. But I used to keep my phone handy with the notes open because Gary would change rules in the middle of sales pitches, and I would have to go and change the rules back. Do you know this?
Yeah, I do, because I wanted to satisfy him in the room. Like, hey, did that sound right? And he's like, yeah, like,
Yeah, that's right.
okay, Gary.
Yeah, I'll go change it again.
Yeah, and it went counter to exactly what we said we weren't going to be.
Yeah,
Listen, everyone's going to say, "Well, Gary did this." Gary, like, come at me with your criticism because
right.
I will take it on the chin. My ego is. I went from having the biggest ego in the world to it's not even an ego anymore. It's just
Yeah,
what I am.
right.
And I will absolutely join you in calling out the things I did wrong because
Yeah,
those wrong things and learning from them, I think I'm pretty damn good at like not making the same mistakes.
right.
But yeah, we would counter to everything and we gave in and we too many
Yeah,
discounts and too many things to get people to play and
the
an
fucking discounts,
exception
Gary.
here. That's what killed me.
The fucking discounts.
Discount. Like,
I wanted to kill you. I really did. The
now,
fucking
if
discounts.
I knew now, it's always we could say. Like, if I knew now, I knew
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
I would have probably kept that league smaller. I
yeah.
would have kept that league at a solid 24 teams, and you would have to fight to get into that league.
It's the one thing that Ed Kenny used to say to us: you don't have to be the biggest, just be the best. And
Yeah,
he was probably right about that.
Ed had this way of saying things
Yeah,
that just like it wouldn't be often, but he'd say it and it would hit hard. And like
yeah,
but it would hit hard months after. Like
yep.
fucking Ed was right. But he remember when I did fantasy baseball from our men's league? We had a draft
I
and we
do.
drafted players in the league.
Oh, Jesus Christ,
And
yes.
I remember we were playing the Pirates, and we were at Deptford High School. We had to use the Deptford High School field, so we're playing the Pirates. And I'm standing on first base. Eddie played first, and I lean over, and he's like, "That's a pretty good pretty good idea to draft John Mater with the first pick. I was like, yeah, dude, your guy he can mash, so, and then like people would say things, like I had guys yell at me like, oh, that's why I don't get drafted in the first round. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, we're just a bunch of fat guys. But it was more, I had Frank Chandler, had a team. His team was the Nubian Princes. And Johnny was oh my God, Flotillas, something like that. We had a bunch of teams in that league. And then this is before, no, I was on the Senators. I just got on the Senators.
Yeah.
And we just had all these. And I remember when I drafted Ed Horner, who hated me.
Yeah.
I think he hated that I drafted him and that I was on his team.
Yeah.
And then over like the years, like Ed's a very intense, focused guy.
Yeah.
On a baseball field, but if you catch him in the bar, he's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
I remember one time when I had Three Nation and I had Gus Pudini, and I just remember, and then when he beat us, and then I took the picture of Ed throwing the dog,
Yeah.
And we were playing a midweek league game, and I'm like stretching the outfield, and Ed Horner stand. I just didn't see him because if I knew he was out there, I wouldn't be running near him.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I looked, and he looked at me. He's like, fuck you, Gus Pudini. I'm like, yeah, bud, yeah. So Ed's a cool dude. He was a good player.
Yeah, so anybody that doesn't know, Three Nation was a website that Gary started. It really was
that started the league.
Yeah, really the genesis of the league. He used to do fucking league rankings, and people would get fired up, dude. Fired up about it. At one point, he was giving my hair was, he would like 4 out of 5 Magaldi.
Oh yeah, you got a Magaldi hair ranking. I remember I refused to remember when before I got on the Senators, I'd always make them last.
Yeah.
They were so good that I'd refuse to put them at number 1. Like, I just wouldn't do it. Like, they could kick someone's ass, and like, I'd move them up and down, but they'd never be 1. But it would always be like, fuck you guys, do it. Something like, it was, I wish I kept some of the material, and I was really good at that point of being like, it was good.
It was great.
It was funny.
It was fun.
I remember the late Pete Conn used to say to me, he goes, I would get to work on Monday really early so I could log into C3 Nation and see what you wrote, because I'd always pick on Senators, and I ended up on the Senators. We had so much fun the first year.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. Did I tell you about the meeting that a youth baseball organization had about me?
No. Can I hear about it?
Oh, it's a great fucking story.
Please.
So I remember I was like doing all this shit on Three Nation, but I have the Washington Township Youth Baseball logo come out of there because it said Washington Township, so for the team I was on.
Right.
So they had this big meeting about me, and I get this text message from Gary Barbara, Dan Barbara, and P. Gill. They're here. They're going to pull up your website on the thing. I went on there and I changed it to a Christian website where I had me and Gus Pudini dressed as Jesus, and it was like Bible quotes all over it. And they bring it up, and the guys go, "We're not going to show it." And then Gary and Dan were like, brilliant, because I knew how to work that thing so I could change it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So it was like all Bible quotes, and then it was just like, play baseball for Jesus, and I still had the Washington Township thing at the bottom.
That's ridiculous.
Listen, I mean, sometimes, actually, it never really got bad.
Yeah.
It got bad towards the end when I ran the league because I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't make fun of the people that I was running, but No,
the website was always great. It was, it was sarcastic, and it could be a little biting every once in a while, but it was all in good fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the other stuff later that got out of control.
Yeah. And that other stuff was me still just shitting on the other league. And, in retrospect, I shouldn't have done it. And I used to make like Steve Sigler out to be a bad guy, but I mean, he still doesn't really know. Give a fuck. His daughter's hot. But he was a fucking absolutely great business.
Right.
He's a really, really great business. And, I mean, they should have shown some respect, but, back then I didn't show anyone respect. And, now, like, I'm like, okay, yeah, I should have been respectful, but still go fuck yourself.
Well, you definitely got his attention.
I did. I made him drive down from Long Island. It was fantastic. But the other person that I was kind of crappy to, and then we made amends, was Joe Becerra, who died of COVID.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, when I got the news, Terry Anise called me, and he told me, and, like, I was just about done with the league. No, I was done with the league.
You were done.
Yeah, and he told me, and I was just like, I'm glad that Joe and I didn't end as like, I mean, he had moved to the city. Yeah, we had talked a lot, and then when he told me that Joe passed away, I think one of the things I want to do is go back to that field that me, him, and Terry tried to fix.
Yeah.
In Cherry Hill, and just like to have a trade for him because he was a legitimately really nice man.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
And I was my ego was so far off the rails at that point. Like I picked a fight with anyone who would have a fight with me.
Yeah, we had a lot of conversations with that guy.
We tried to put us together. Yeah, we tried to put both leagues together and make a massive league, and it would have worked. And I think that
it almost happened.
It almost happened. We're moments away from it, and that was kind of cool because we were like going back and forth. We ended up in Dave Nelson's apartment for his radio show before podcasts were a thing. And we thought it was going to happen, and like it didn't.
All right, let's talk about what's going on now in your life and what's 5 years into the future. What are we doing now?
I kind of live above a restaurant, and I go bartend down there for fun.
Yeah.
I'm really good friends with the owner. I wish I'd have met him earlier in life.
Yeah.
I'm about to get married again to an absolute saint of a woman who's just incredibly too hot for me to be with. I don't get it. We have to get her eyes checked. I'm kind of happy. I'm not fighting with the guy who I'm sharing skin with. It's like, everything's good. I'm like just so excited to see what my kids are going to become. 5 years in the future, I don't know. I think I used to think about that too much. Now it's just like I'm really enjoying what I got. I'm going to be married. I'll be 5 years into a marriage.
Yeah.
My sons will be 5 years older and doing some cool stuff. And it's so good not to wake up every day and have to fight.
Yeah.
So that's what baseball was. It was a big fight every day. It was, it was the ending of relationships, and it was such a struggle and just an absolute parade of bad decisions that I thought were the right ones, and making too many concessions for certain things and standing my ground on things I shouldn't have.
Right.
And I think that's after this many years, I could look back on it and say, okay, now I know what the telltale signs are to make those right decisions. I stop worrying about people liking me.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking to piss people off. That's the difference.
Right.
I just want everyone to like me, and I wanted to piss people off. Now I don't.
Yeah.
If you like me, then you're supposed to be here because this is the way I am. And I understand I have to change for certain things.
Yeah.
And I've made changes. But I think that the more I've gotten into it, it's just I'm taking it as it comes. I'm just trying to do the right things.
Was that always part of your personality, like the defiance, I guess? Is that what it is?
I think it was low key, but I think it was more a fake sense of defiance because if it was truly defiant, I never would have made those concessions with rules and, I have to do discounts so I can keep this team. I talked a very good game.
Yeah.
I don't talk so much anymore. And it's kind of good to be quiet and listen to things.
You think it was just a time in your life when a lot of shit was going on and it sort of exacerbated it, you think?
Yeah, that's part of it. I think we got successful.
Right, we did.
And that's the problem. You got successful quick, and then you started smelling yourself, and you're like, I'm the best. And then when, time's a motherfucker. It'll catch up to you.
Yeah.
And if you overplay your stroke, dude, it's going to sort you out. And I got sorted out real quick, and I got humbled. And although I come up and you see the whole Facebook things, it's like, I play this bravado role that everyone knows is fake because it's so cartoonish.
Yeah.
But it's like the people who know me, like, he's not.
Right.
Like before, no one knew was I really like that or not. Like it was a question. Now it's like, oh, dude, he's just doing this to shine you on. That's why I think the instigator thing.
It's funny.
It's funny that we stay away from politics because that's where I get to people.
Yeah,
because it's very calculated.
Yeah, and I think the part of this podcast is I just want to have normal conversations with normal people.
Yeah,
and just get their thoughts on life, and politics gets in the way of that.
Yeah,
because especially in this era, we go into our little box and we think that we have to agree with everything that everybody says in that box. And you and I disagree on a lot of things in politics, but we've had many conversations over the years, and we don't yell at each other. And
well, I was telling my friend Doug, I was like, Dave is on the opposite side of politics that I am.
Yeah.
But neither one of us are on the fringe of our side. We're kind of like, we can see each other from the middle. And I know we've made points in the past where I'm like, yeah, I get that, and from both sides,
Right.
because we speak logically. I think that's what I didn't do in the past is speak logically, speak on emotion.
Yeah.
Now it's like, I speak more from things that like matter, and I'm willing to, concede certain things. And,
Yeah.
that's ultimately the way you win is by conceding on things that are logical.
Let's talk about relationships. Tell me what your mom and dad would have said about you. What do you think? How they feel about Gary
Today,
today? Yeah.
they'd be happy with me, but
Yeah.
it would be happy after disappointment.
Okay.
Because I'll give this to my ex-wife. As my father was dying, she would show up to the hospital with a wedding ring and
Yeah.
act like we were still married because she didn't want him to go out thinking that happened. And we've had our spats, but I'll always respect her for doing that. And I think my mom would have liked, that where I am now. I think my father would be nuts about where I live right now because
Yeah.
I'm near German beer and,
Yeah.
and I think that my father would absolutely, I think both of them, but more so my father would absolutely love Danielle. Like he would just like be over the moon for a little Irish girl,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
nicest girl. So he would be, and he'd be proud of the boys. He'd be
Yeah.
really proud of them.
How about being your girlfriend at this point in your life?
What do you mean? Like
What would she say about you?
one of my favorite things to do is to take pictures when we're out of her when she's not looking. And you've seen them where I've made memes of her, like reactions to thing I say.
Yeah.
And it's always that picture where she's got both hands up to her face, like covering like, I can't believe you say that.
Yeah.
She knows that I am an instigator, but it's to get a kind of funny reaction out of her.
Yeah.
She knows that I am either 100% in or 100% out on anything
Yeah.
at any given time. But that can change more now than it did in the past. She knows that, we've had a progression. It wasn't like, oh, we met and we're like head over heels. It was this time that we were apart and stuff. And
Yeah.
we kind of made, mostly because of her, because she's just a forgiving person and maybe the most patient person. Knows, I do, like, I'm 100% in with her.
Right.
So, like, it's,
Yeah.
she really is my best friend. She gets the crust of me.
Yeah.
We like all the same things. You know what's funny is like, when people date, they go, hey, babe, hey, honey. We never, like, it's not like that. Like, she calls me Shearsy. No
Right.
matter, hey, Shearsy, hey, Shearsy.
Yeah.
Or if I say something like, you're the squirrel or Deebs or Deebers or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's always something we never, because we don't want to be sappy about it because we
Right.
see people being sappy and out loud about it. And like, I call it the squirrel. It's a fun
Yeah.
story, but it's, I think that she likes this version of me now
Yeah.
than the one that she met because the one that she met was still kind of like sorting himself out.
Gotcha. How about the boys? What would they say about you?
They like being around dad because I was at the every other weekend dad, and
Yeah.
it's not to knock my ex-wife. She has a very suburban life,
Right.
and it's a very now Mason don't do this and Connor don't do this here. They're like they work in the restaurant.
Yeah.
We goof on things. We talk about girls.
Yeah.
Connor calls me Gary, but he doesn't. He goes Gowie like that because he'll call me Gary.
Yeah.
And it's like hanging out with like two dudes.
Yeah.
But like I say, do this. It's just immediately they do what I tell them to do because they have
Right.
that level of respect. But it's like they've seen me do things here, and like I'm not like Mason said to me. He's like, yeah, you're not like my friend's dads. Like my friend's dads always look mad or like they're always like
Right.
going somewhere. Like you just kind of like you're in a, I told him when he was working, he was bar backing, and he and I were standing there, and it was like the bar is crowded, and we're like looking around, I'm like, Mason, what do you think your friends are doing today? He's like, probably playing video games. I'm like, what are you doing? He's working in bar, Phil. Like, it's like,
Yeah. Right.
I'd like to think that I'm the cool dad. I'm not trying to be cool for them, but it's like
Yeah.
we do things that, a lot of guys don't do with their kids because I treat them like grown-ups a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Take them out to dinner. Nice dinners.
Oh, we do it all the time. That's where the Gentleman's Arsenal came from. It was just
Yeah.
like, we get dressed up and go to a good restaurant. They teach them like good food. They're not eating at Applebee's or fucking Olive Garden.
What's it like being Gary's friend?
Frustrating. It's got to be. Because again, being 100% and 100% out, I can be either really dialed into something.
Yeah.
Sometimes my mouth gets away from me.
Yeah.
Still, and it's with good intention. It is, I think you see somebody who can be extremely focused and accomplished, but also at the same time just, confounding. You're always going to laugh.
Yeah.
It's never going to be really that serious
Right.
around me. But I think other people have seen it too. Is like I'll do anything for certain people, and other people I won't even like bat an eye over.
Yeah. Right. How was it being your boss over the years?
Uh, we're in a money business, so it was about making money. So
Yeah.
I don't think they really cared much about who I was or what I was as long as I was producing.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different situation now where I'm at because we're not in the
Yeah.
asset acquisition side, we're more in the management side. So I think my boss hired me because I have a different type of experience, but I think he's still trying to figure me out because I approach things differently.
Right.
Not like I'm like breaking any barriers, but I'm bringing a different, kind of feel to it. And
Right.
I think we're still kind of figuring. I've only been there. I haven't been there a year yet, so I think he's kind of figuring out. We both very much light in the fact that we're very sports guys, and we're like dudes who like to drink beers and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
at this age, and he's in his 40s. I'm in my 50s.
Yeah. I've had a lot of bosses in my life, and production never seemed to be all that fucking important. I don't like we're in a production business, and I would produce, and it would just be, yeah, that's great. Can you give me more?
Yep,
Uh,
yep. It's not for long. It's what you've done for me recently. That's why I always just think that like, you have to make work everything. You work to live. You don't live to work. Like if
yeah.
it was up to me and money wasn't an issue and I could make the same money I'm making in any job that I could have,
Yeah.
I'd be a bartender. I
Yeah.
love doing it. And it's like, oh, you're just a bartender. Like, I'm not just a bartender. And I tell people, oh my God, why are you down here? It's fun. I
Yeah.
get to be social and I
Yeah.
get to talk about things that other, like, especially in this bar because it's a German beer bar and there's not many of them in this country
Yeah. Right.
and the history behind these beers, and you tell them about what they taste like, and they say, "Well, I want to try," and then you make a recommendation to them, and they're like, "Oh, I love it," and it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
you made someone happy
Yeah.
after this long period of time where you were making a lot of people upset and mad at you.
Right.
I get to go back there, and I'm dealing with people that are younger than me that like
Yeah.
it's not so much of a father figure thing, but they keep you young
Right.
because they're not talking about, oh my God, this is horrible. I got this.
Yeah.
They're so inquisitive about things and where their life is going, and they rely on you. They come to you for advice. It's
Yeah.
it's a really cool dynamic. I just always liked standing behind a bar.
Yeah.
Always have liked it.
Yeah. You're not doing a lot of medical conversations
No,
about your hip
no,
arthritis.
no. You can't talk about that. You're just talking about like food and booze and just like where cool places to go are and people like, hey, people out of town, like where should I go for this? Or where, you become kind of like a tour guide.
Tell me who the person that has been most impactful in your life. Any one person.
My father. I talked about this. It's like there was a marked change in my life when my dad died.
Yeah.
First of all, I always people name their heroes. Mine sat at the end of the table.
Yeah.
He was just a good guy. He was good at being good,
Yeah.
and he could be a very socially awkward guy, but if he knew he could kill you, which he could,
Yes.
there's a different spin to it. But he was just he doted over my mother. My sister was the world, and I was, expected to be, I always made him laugh, which he loved.
Yeah.
But I respected him that he was 100% a father, 100%, a provider. And even when things were down, he had, I think I told the story at my father's funeral,
Yeah.
how after he got out of the military, he couldn't find a job, so he had to work at 7-Eleven. And I'd hear him curse and wear that, he'd have to wear this orange shirt.
Yeah.
And he was just like a fucking orange shirt. He just hated it. Did it for 3 months and then he got his job.
Yeah.
But he ate shit for us, and I respected it so much. There's sometimes I had to do things that I didn't want to do. And I'd always remember, like, if he could do it, you can do it. I just respected the man,
Yeah.
He's very, like on the right there, that's his hat. That, right on the bar there, that's his hat,
Yeah.
and then that, where is it? I think I have it stored somewhere. Oh, it's right up there. The, Tullamore Dew. So
Yeah.
that was it was made the year my father died, and I only drink out of it on the day he died. I take a shot of it every year, and then I leave a shot for him
Yeah.
the entire day. Then right before it turns the 13th,
Yeah.
I do that last shot for him. So I've taken 2 shots out of it. So I've had about 20 shots out of it
Yeah.
since he's passed away. So, and then I think when it's done, I won't think about it again.
What's the best advice he ever gave you?
Get mad. Get mad. Because no matter what, if you feel like the world is against you, get mad and do something about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, don't sit there and take it. get mad, yell at yourself, motivate yourself. And I remember when he said it, he put that big paw down on the table, and the whole table shook. And he's like, something's pissing you. Just get fucking mad.
Yeah.
And it was the best advice. And you know what? Like I said before, I've never seen anyone motivated by venom. It's a good and a bad thing. But now I know what it meant.
Yeah. All right. I need some embarrassing stories.
The embarrassing story was the one from college when I got I was such a bitch. I got caught and I was acting like I didn't know what I was doing there. I mean, it was bad.
How about an embarrassing drunk story? Any of those?
Not that I can really remember because I'm like a pretty good drunk.
Yeah.
Like I rarely get mad. When I do, it's like run around it's over.
Right.
But I don't go. I'm going to go and run down the street. I was never. I may have done some shit in college that I can't remember.
Yeah.
But recently, I can't remember any that were embarrassing.
Any time you shit yourself?
We always talked about shitting pants. I didn't shit my pants. I shit the floor because I was trying to make a joke when my friend Ben walked into the living room.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bend over and grab my ass cheeks, pull it apart, and fart really loud. But when I did, I shot a shit out of my ass on the floor. And he's like, "Oh my god!" He goes running out. And he's like yelling at people. And now I'm like, laughed about it.
Yeah.
But then this other time, this is when remember I was dating Tex, the big, the tall, beautiful girl from Texas.
Yeah.
She was in the bathroom. And I snuck up on the door and I wanted to fart really loud on the door.
Yeah.
And I went to fart and I shit on the door. And I had to real quick hurry and clean the door before she came out. And she's like, "Oh, what happened?" I was like, "Oh, no, I just farted really loud. It's like really bad." And she's like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah." And this is when she had other dog. And Carlos shit on the floor over there. I had to clean it out. I was like, "Oh my God, Carlos." Carlos got yelled at because I shit on the door. And I'm like, "Yeah, fucking Carlos. Come on, man." And like, here I am, like, yeah, I shit on the door.
Wait,
I don't think I ever told her that story.
I need to rewind for a minute because you pulled your pants down to fart on your friend and you shit on the floor.
Well, he was a good distance away. I wanted him just to see my asshole open up and fart.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But how big is this turd? Like
it wasn't because it can't be solid when you fart it out because then it has to go through that whole like semi-birthing process. Like it's coming through the breech and everything. It has like had a little head. It just squirt right out.
So it was a wet.
So it was a shot of shit. Yeah, it was like a squib of shit.
Did you get a wet nap? What did you do there?
I had to scrub that carpet, and like they put they found there was this construction site across the street, and they took one of the orange cones and put it on the floor. Yeah, not my best moment.
You're fucking sharding on the carpet.
Yeah. I'm more projectile shitting than anything. Like I won't shit my pants on principle.
Yeah.
But like one thing that my sons say to each other, which I wish was an actual power that you can have.
Yeah.
Like Connor's like, it would say to me, "I'm gonna kick your ass so bad I'm gonna shit your pants." I'm like, that is fucking amazing. That you would beat someone's ass so bad that you would literally shit in their pants and then walk around with it. It's amazing.
Tell me, do you have any tea stories? Piss yourself? Because I piss myself all the fucking time.
I think it was in 1985, 86, and I was watching Robin Williams do stand up, and I'm like watching him, and he was talking about how the British monarchy smiles, and he was like, "Someone holds a small turd under the nose," and just the way he did it, and the face he made, I start laughing, and I legit pissed my pants super hard. I'm not a self-fouler. I don't shit or piss myself. It's just everyone says that's like a shitting story. I'm like, sorry, man, I missed that day in life class to shit your pants.
Gary, you shit on the floor, but
it's not my pants.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have to live with it. It exited my body, then I had to take care of it, but it wasn't on my person,
Yeah. No, I haven't really shit myself many times. Just when I've done it, it's been horrendous.
Yeah.
How about getting caught having sex or catching your parents have sex?
Never caught my parents having sex. And I never got caught. No one's ever walked in on me. No one's ever watched me because it's just like, I just never put myself in that position. I've walked in on people doing it, but not my parents.
Like friends?
Yeah. And it's always been embarrassing for them. Me, I just laugh my ass off. But I've always kind of been like, I've always had to have my environment to have to have sex. So it wouldn't be like I'm doing it on a rooftop and people are watching. Like, nah, that's not how I roll.
Any gross stories where you're walking in on somebody, like where they were getting like pegged or anything?
No, but I was in a fraternity and there was we had this rooftop deck or like this roof deck that went around.
Yeah,
And I'm walking around the corner because I had to throw up. I'm a puker.
yeah,
You didn't ask anything about puking. I was a
yeah,
puker for a while.
yeah.
And I walk around the corner and I look and I just see this dude, Troy, getting a blowjob. And it wasn't the blowjob that caught me. It was the enormous size of his nuts. And I'm like, what the fuck? I turn around, I look around the corner, and I found my buddy Dave Reed, and I'm like, you gotta come here. And he looks and like, oh my, like, he couldn't believe the size of this guy's sack. It was like, it looked like a Vienna sausage on a beanbag, dude. And she was going to town on it, and we're like, I didn't even care about the blowjob, dude. I could not get over the size of his balls. I'm like, what the shit? Like, that's not human, dude. That's like a prosthetic, you liar.
It's amazing. All right, 20 questions. I think I actually have 22 for you.
Okay.
Let's see how this goes.
Got it. Is it like rapid fire?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah, we're a little faster.
Okay.
What makes you angry? Yeah.
People who are ignorant about things, who talk like they're experts on something, but they have absolutely no idea. I can't take that. And that and wokeism, shit that's woke,
Yeah.
ultra woke,
Ultra woke.
ultra woke.
Yeah.
Either side.
Zealots?
Yeah, zealotry.
Yeah.
I hope that's a word.
Yeah, I don't know if it is.
It is today.
I know what you mean.
Because if they can make finna a word, we can make zealotry.
What makes you happy?
Having a family. Connor was joking with me when I went to the Christmas village with the boys and Danielle, and I was walking across the street, and he goes, look at Gary, happy with a family again. Like, this is when he told me, that's how funny he is.
Yeah.
But because I had this shit-eating grin on my face, I'm there with the boys and Danielle. Like, I'm just like, it's like this deep, that breath, you're like, that's awesome.
You got any more of that whiskey? I want to cheers to that, buddy.
Yeah, I got there.
That's just, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. That's good stuff. What makes you proud? What are you proud of?
My boys.
Would you change anything about your life?
I wish I would have listened more.
Just explain that a little bit for me.
I was too busy telling people my opinions on what I thought was right to not listen to the other side. And living where we've kind of like being around people who have different ideas and thoughts and lifestyles has been the thing that I think has been something that I'm also proud of, is that I took the time to listen instead of it being this way, and it's only this way. I got to like see other things because I shut my mouth.
Yeah.
I still run my mouth, but
there
are times that I do listen. I think I've gotten pretty good at listening to certain things.
I'm sure you still have a strong opinion when you have an opinion.
I always have an opinion.
Yeah. What's most important to you?
I guess being happy. I know it sounds like a stock answer, but when you've been miserable for a long period of time, or you fake happiness, try to manufacture it to actually have genuine happiness.
What's your most unreasonable quality?
Stubborn. Very stubborn.
How about your best quality?
Loving. When I love something or I'm loyal to it, I'm 1,000% in. When I'm kind of meh, it's not a thing. It's blank. But when I love something, like I love my new little family now. I love having a best friend again. Yeah. That I actually respect. Right. He's a great guy. He's done, like, I'm proud of the things he's done. Yeah.
I've told this to several people in my life, but friendships are very important. We all get lost in our family life, and that thing that we think that we're supposed to do and be the best husband or to be the best dad, but you need some time for yourself. You need friends, and you need to cultivate those relationships. It's an important thing.
I hope you get to this. I'm not going to say it because it might be one of your questions, but I'll get to it.
No, give it to me. Don't wait.
I remember when I was getting divorced.
Yeah.
I asked how it worked, how you and Laura worked, and you said we never stopped being friends. Yeah. And that was because that's what happened with me. Yeah. And now, like, I have my best friend now. And I'm not saying like the same thing today again. Right. It's like I trust her. She gets me, and we're friends.
Yeah, I mean, that's my.
It's hot shit too, but
it helps. It helps that you want to pork her, but Yeah, that's my advice to people all the time. It's easy to love somebody, right? It's easy to love them. We love lots of people in our life. It's not easy to like them.
Yeah.
That takes work, right?
Mhm.
And that's friendship, liking
Yeah.
somebody. And yeah, if you genuinely like the other person, it's going to last. And Laura and I have had our things over the years, and we forgot to like each other for a little bit. We almost got divorced,
Mm.
and that was around the time Jake. It was a little bit before me and you, but we worked it out and became friends again.
Yeah.
And that's there's nothing more important than that.
Yeah.
All right, so this question is via my younger son, Nicky Noodles, and he wants to know what your best mistake has been. Your best mistake.
The baseball academy.
Okay.
It's my best mistake because now I learned what not to trust.
Yeah.
And what not to do.
Yeah.
And it was advice that my good friend Dan Bartolomeo gave me. He said you got to break the cycle of bad decisions.
Yeah.
And it's that sagely advice. It's some badass shit when you say, because then you're making the same mistakes, but that'll be different this time.
Right.
You've made enough mistakes for you got to break that cycle. So the baseball academy, everything it represented, was my favorite mistake because I was proud of it and I detested it at the same time.
Yeah. How about your worst mistake?
I could have seen my mother more before she died. I was so afraid of watching her die that I avoided her, and she just begged to see me. And then I'd start to see her that she died. So I probably would have seen her more.
Yeah.
And I regret it every day.
Yeah.
And I try to remember that.
I used to do that with my grandmother. I would avoid her. She was in the hospital a lot at the end, and she was everything to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not the dude that can stand watch. I just can't do it.
Yeah. I think I could do it now.
Yeah, maybe now.
But then I couldn't.
What's your everyday struggle? Anything?
Keeping the promises I make to myself to today I'll start doing this.
Yeah.
I don't keep. And there's a great thing from, I don't know if you ever heard of Eric Thomas, but he calls it about the 30-day guarantee.
Yeah.
Because if you buy something and you have a receipt and it says, we'll give you this in 30 days. If you don't get it, you're running up to the counter like, where's my shit? I didn't get it in 30 days, but you never made a promise to yourself that you didn't keep in 30 days and you didn't hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
So my daily struggle is accountability when it comes to things I think I should be doing.
If you were arrested and nobody knew why, what would they think the reason was?
Violent. I got mad and hit somebody.
Yeah. Yep. I'm pretty sure that most of my people would think the same thing.
Yeah.
If you had to be a woman for a day, what would you do?
I play with myself.
Yeah.
So I know what to do.
I feel like that's the answer.
Yeah.
Some other people gave other answers, but I think that
is it like I would start this or I'd advocate for this? Like, no, you'd be touching them titties.
So far it's just been dudes, and they're like, I would rule the world.
Nah,
it's a fucking day, dude. Like,
one day you gotta fucking wear that button down. Yeah.
What are you self-conscious about, if anything?
Weight that I put on over the years. I got a gut and some titties right now. I'm trying to get rid of.
How about your favorite curse word?
Oh, fuck.
Most creative curse word that you like?
Cunt muscle.
Cunt muscle.
I call people cunt muscle when they do something like this. Fucking cunt muscle. Yeah.
What is your favorite part of wokeness or the new age liberalism? Your favorite part?
The absurdity of it. Just like sometimes you hear like, we can't use. What were they talking about? Oh Jesus! It had the word black in it. It was a blacksmith or something.
Yeah.
Or like with women, they don't call them when they're birthing persons. It's just like it's so like I want to go. I was like, is there like old school Ashton Kutcher going to jump out and say, we got you? Like it's a fucking joke. Right. Like it's so like you're worried about offending anyone. It's like I saw this. There was like this. I don't know what to call it, but they had a bunch of these woke people in one place. They were having this like fair or whatever you want to call it. And then when the guy's talking, this person says, point of order, when you talk with your hand, that's a microaggression. And if you couldn't talk with your hands, and everyone's like, yeah. And then he like everything, they kept interrupting the guy speaking because, well, you misgendered this. And I'm like, bro, it just, you can't get anything accomplished because you're so worried about offending people or satisfying everybody.
Right.
And I look at it and I somehow draw parallels to my earlier life where I wanted to do that with everyone, but I didn't go to the lengths of absurdity.
Yeah.
It's just like you can't call something a good, it's a black widow. It's not a black widow because you make it sound like it's against black people. It's like, no, it's the color black. It's the
Right.
color black. We're not talking about, African American people.
Right.
So,
All right. Can I get you to agree that anything about like the squad is good? Like any idea?
I think AOC is kind of good looking. That's about it. I'll give her that. She's not a great looking one, but she's actually kind of attractive. Outside of that, I've got zero for them. So she's carrying the weight, and the other one who married her brother is just a reek that where he just he literally married her brother. That's factual.
Yeah.
That's a thing. You can Google.
If you can change one thing about the world, what would you change?
No social media.
Really?
None.
Really?
Zero. Coming from the biggest social media where you probably know.
Yes.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it because it acts to separate us, not join us. Social media brings us all together. The fuck it does.
Yeah.
You fight with people on it, then you try to put out this life that you have that you don't.
Right.
We draw lines about this is, I'm a liberal, I'm a conservative, you're a racist, I'm this. That's all that social media is. It's daily to see who could one up the absurd stupidity
Yeah.
and lack of respect that people have for each other.
Yeah.
Social media is a cancer in our society.
It is.
And
I agree with you.
nothing really good comes out of it. If the internet existed for research or to look at an advertisement or to, share pictures, like that's my favorite part of, people are going to think I'm lying when I say this. I don't care if they think it's fucking themselves, but it's not the pictures of you working out.
Yeah.
And it's not the pictures of making fun of people, which I do. It's the pictures of your kid graduating.
Yeah.
It's a picture of a good restaurant you're at or a vacation you're on. Or I accomplished, I graduated here or I beat cancer. Like that's my favorite part of Facebook, but it's the absurd. And I ain't claiming that I am, innocent of it because I get caught up in it. And if 5 years ago, 6 years ago, more, maybe 8 years ago, it'd been worse.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think it's the worst thing. And fuck Mark Zuckerberg for doing this.
Listen, I spent quite a bit of time of being a keyboard warrior on social media, and I'm a fucking expert at it. And
You're damn good.
but I'm over it too, man. I mean, that's why I started this podcast because like real conversations with people is nice to have.
Yeah.
Like we haven't really seen each other live in a couple of years, I guess.
Yeah.
Pandemic got in the way a little bit, but it's just nice to do that.
Yeah.
All right. What celebrity should play you in a movie?
Who's that guy from? And I don't watch this show, so who's that dude from The Walking Dead who had the baseball bat?
Oh, I don't know. I never watched it.
Yeah, him.
I want to say some mildly racist shit, like some like Hispanic guy, but I'm not going to do that.
I think I'm like a fat John Leguizamo. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but now that dude, I think the dude from The
Walking Dead. Yeah.
Yeah, what's his name? I'll Google it while we do.
All right. Yeah, Google it. I was going to get my production assistant, but I don't have one of those. So, what would your last meal be if you were on death row?
Being as I know that I have to get the last word in, even after death, I hear you void your bowels. So I'd want it to be like a really disgusting chili so that after I die, I shit everywhere and somebody's going to be fucking miserable on the way out. Like I've left my mark. So I want it to be something that's going to be just absolutely grotesque and that they would have like a scientific study about how could he put this kind of shit in his body before he dies. If you're going to die, like, I want to be happy before I die. No, tell me I'm not going to die and I'll be happy. You're going to eat this and you're going to fucking clean my shit.
If your kids saw your browser history, would you be embarrassed? Yes or no?
No.
Damn it.
Boring. I'm boring. It's Tony Gwynn related or German beer related or like as of recently, we're talking about Google or YouTube?
Either.
It would be a lot of stuff about Yellowstone because I'm not committed to sitting down and watching the whole series. So I watch the best fucking parts of it.
Yeah.
Danielle's convinced I watch it because I talk about it.
Yeah.
And I've seen nothing but YouTube clips. I've never watched the show once.
I watched the first, I guess it's the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But I can't sit down and watch this 3rd season. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't even know how many seasons.
Whatever it is, the last season. I think there's more seasons than that, but I watch every one of them.
I think that's 5.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, that's how much I know. If God exists and you reach the pearly gates, what do you want him to say to you?
Your parents are waiting.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Or Dad's over there, he won't shut up. And he's got a beer for you.
What do you want people to remember you for or by when it's all said and done?
The people that mattered that I was good to them. And that I had my flaws.
Yeah.
But I tried. That I tried.
Yeah. I want to end this podcast with any advice you have for, let's start with a young worker. Any advice for them?
Work. Don't ask questions. Don't ask for more. Work. And if you're working the right way, you're going to get what you need. And it may not be where you're at. You might not get more money where you're at, but if you're working hard and you look somewhere else and you have that work ethic, you're going to be successful, because that's what I'm seeing here. What's going on in the city and in restaurants and stuff is that every person thinks they're entitled to a raise right away because they did their job.
Yeah.
There's that sense of urgency is to work and to listen.
Yeah.
And to listen. Yeah.
Advice for 18-year-old Gary.
Shut up and listen.
Yeah.
And work.
Similar. How about any advice for a young parent?
Shut up and listen and work at being a parent and being a partner, and listen.
I guess same question for a young spouse.
Shut up and listen and work.
Yeah.
It sounds like I'm but I can't tell you how valuable it is to sit down and not hear the sound of your own voice.
Yeah.
And to get up and do something, because we always complain about things that we don't have for the work we don't do. It's like getting in front of the mirror after you get a show. Oh my God, I'm fat. Well, did you work out? Did you diet? No, but you're wondering why the fuck you're fat. You didn't work. Right. And you didn't listen to people that tell you you're putting on weight. And it's just not just weight. It's with anything. I don't have a lot of money. Are you working? I'm trying. You're either working or you're not.
Right.
So shut up and listen to people who can help you work to get what you need.
Or I don't understand why our relationship's falling apart. Are you working at it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just is a miracle itself to you.
Yeah. How about, what do you think 18-year-old Gary would think of, I don't know, how old are you? 72?
51.
What would your 18-year-old Gary think of 51-year-old Gary?
Well, because 18-year-old Gary had no clue of where he'd be. And if 18-year-old Gary saw 51-year-old Gary, he'd think, okay, whoa, all right, I'm going to be okay. I guess I figured it out. Because I had no clue at 18.
Yeah.
I was fucking nothing.
Yeah. All right, buddy. That's all I got for you. You want to plug anything?
Brauhaus Schmitz, the most authentic German restaurant in Philadelphia, if not the country.
They got great food here too.
Yeah, the food's fucking awesome, and the beer is great.
Schnitzel, lots of schnitzel here.
Schnitzel's good. The brats are good. Yeah, I'm low key a sauerkraut guy. Yeah, it makes it hard to be around me though after a couple hours of beers.
Lots of farting on the sauerkraut.
Oh yeah.
All right, buddy. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's good to sit down and just talk to you.
Yeah, man. It's good to see you. All right. Till next time, guys. I'm out.
All right.
Peace.